Hey, friends. I have a few things I just want to say real quick. I don't know about you, but I'm getting really exhausted from all of the division in the world. And I know part of it is just the algorithm on my social media. And the fact that I've stopped watching the news is because I'm just tired of the inflammatory extremes on both sides. And I want to be able to just talk to people again. I don't know about you, but I feel like um, you know I'm estranged from some extended family. Um, you know, I talk to my husband and my adult children all the time, and I have several friends that I know are that share my views. That obviously I can talk to all those people, but I just feel like anyone that doesn't agree with me politically, it's it's going to end up in a fight, and I have to be careful with like my coworkers because I don't know how everybody feels about things. And I'm not even an extreme person. Like, I used to be conservative and I voted Republican my whole adult life until just about a little bit about a decade ago. And I had literally thought before that Democrats were bad people. And not even like in like some people now will be like so and so's evil, which is not what I ever thought. But I had friends that were Democrat, and when I really stopped to just think what people are saying, the voices I was listening to in the Christian world, it's not true. And I started to realize that was a cognitive dissonance that was happening. And I just stopped for a moment when I allowed myself, instead of trying to twist myself into a pretzel, to believe this ideology that I had been absorbing my entire life for almost 50 years before. By that point, there had been cracks that had been occurring through various things like the death penalty, and through with how people are acting with public education, and then our interaction with the foster care system and with human trafficking had led me to believe that the other side politically is not as bad as I think it is. And so now we're at a point where we have politicians in the last 10 years, because we've always been divided. I mean, if you watch history, like I went back this summer and I watched some of those decade documentaries they had on CNN quite a while ago. I went back and watched them, 60s, 70s, 80s. And my husband and I have been watching the documentary, the Ken Burns documentary on American Revolution. Like, we're wanting to learn history, and I'm shocked and amazed at how much, with in light of that, we've had this 250th birthday of America, how we're still fighting over the same things, but it's just gotten more extreme because of news media and technology, 24-hour news, and how global and exposed we are to the world economy. And I was on a discussion on a post of somebody in one of the political groups that I'm in, and I was realizing people were talking about how they decide on a candidate. Because my point is, recently we've had people critical of Democrat candidates that were being sexual predators. And I'm like, they all need to come down off their pedestal of thinking they're above the law. Every one of them. And so, what this really does is it unites us behind one common principle that I wanted to share today. And my point of this is we need to understand about the character of a person, any person, doesn't mean they're going to be perfect. And I'm not looking for perfect political candidates. People are going to make mistakes. People are going to do things the wrong way. For example, back when you look at the election when Reagan won in 1980, Carter got blasted for making mistakes, and he did make mistakes. But he wasn't a criminal, and he wasn't a bad person. But he was made out to be so that Reagan could win by the other side. You know, and I've always thought in history, like, I looked at Democrat presidents as against me until I started realizing that, you know what, it's not terrible to vote for a Democrat, because I want to vote for the person that cares about their constituents. And they are not necessarily I'm not going to agree with everything of their policies. I'm not going to agree with their agenda. But it doesn't make them evil, and it doesn't make them a bad person. And that's what I am very disturbed by, what I see when people are attacking, like here in Texas, James Tallarico, and comparing that to Ken Paxton. Like, this issue we have of standing behind someone just simply because of the party they align with, because you agree with that party's agenda, is wrong. This is a wrong way to do voting. And listen, you know, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. I'm not telling you how to vote. I just think that if we are really going to like die on this platform of Republican policies, but we're ignoring the character of the candidate that we're lifting up, we have lost our way. If that's your focus, that you care more about this aligning yourself. I mean, it's literally gang activity. It's literally what we would have criticized of like inner city gangs. I am not going to align myself with someone that has shown a pattern of being above the law and feeling entitled in their leadership role. And that is the problem we have right now. Not saying that the other candidate is perfect, not saying that the other party is bad or good. Like, we're all human, we're all flawed. We're not going to ever find the perfect candidate. What we do need to understand is what we're modeling for our children in particular, which is what drives me in my decision making of voting, is what would I be telling my grandchildren by saying that I voted for this person? And I cannot be proud of voting for someone like Ken Paxton. I cannot be proud of voting for definitely not Donald Trump. I'm not saying that you can't align with the Republican Party agenda, but if you are gonna say that, I mean, I feel bad because I have people mad at me right now because I have literally said, they've said to me, they don't like Trump, but he gets stuff done. This is a false narrative that we are tying our vote to. Because if you are a person that with bad character, that makes bad decisions, the root of that is coming from a bad place. It's a toxic place. But if you are, and you can be mad at me about it, I'm just telling the truth. You may not like the other party's agenda. Like if you're pro-life, for example, and I was pro-life, I'm no longer pro-life because pro-life policies don't actually stop abortions. And that's a whole nother conversation. But we have an issue with aligning ourselves with things like gun rights and abortion and LGBTQ issues. Like these are things that people think are like liberal policies, but we've got to get back to what is the core of humanity. Why do we feel that way? And we can't have these conversations until we address character.